And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Guys. I'm back, at least a little back. We'll explain later. But yeah, I'm here, and I'm joined by my wonderful, beautiful sidekick, Cheyenne. How are you?
Fabulous. So
You
happy
are.
to be back.
We're glad you're here. We got a great guest tonight. She's got she's got some great paranormal stories for us, but she's also written a great comic book. So let's introduce Cheyenne. Alisa Kwitney. Did I say it wrong? She's gonna shoot
Yes.
me. I said it wrong, probably.
No,
So,
no, it's right.
No,
It's
no,
good.
you did.
so I'm horrible with names. So so just over.
Chris.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know, of course, you want to pimp your book, but we want to hear all about you, all about what you've done. We want to hear your paranormal stories. Just tell us everything.
Tell
How
you,
did we get here today?
I have really no idea. Let's see. I've had sort of two career tracks. On one, I uh, was a journalist, and then I went to Columbia's fiction writing program, and I've written novels in lots of different genres. And in another path, I tried to figure out what kind of a job I was going to get after graduate school. And I thought, well, I love comic books. Maybe I can get a job in comics. And I sent out letters to both DC and Marvel. Were in New York City at that time. And Marvel, in its infinite wisdom, did not respond to me, but DC did. I had an interview, and I came in a snowstorm. I think I was the only person there. I had to come back, and I ended up working for Karen Berger. So I was working on what later became the Vertigo imprint. So the weird, fun, spooky, lots of British stuff. And I worked on Sandman and Shade the Changing Man and Books of Magic.
Hell yeah.
So that is, and I continue to write both novels and comics. So this year, my DCU series Mystic U, which was a limited series, just got reprinted as a YA book, and I've just come out with Howl, which is an absolute book of my heart with Maurice, the artist. This is for people who don't have a lot of attention span. My quick one-liner is, it's Mrs. Maisel meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Okay.
He says most current mainstream media journalists are also fiction writers.
See what you did there, buddy.
A good gesagt, as my grandmother would have said. Well put.
I was going to ask you how to pronounce that. I read that in the book, and I'm like, what? How do you pronounce that?
You know, there's a lot of Yiddish in the book. I actually, for a future project, I started to get, I fall down these research, I think I've lost my ring.
Rabbit holes.
Yes, I fall down these rabbit holes. And so I was going to take Yiddish so that I could read Jewish supernatural tales in the original. But
cool.
That's like me with my 1 week of taking Klingon and Duolingo, because I thought that would be cool to have on a resume.
Oh, I love that. Can you say something in Klingon?
No, nope. 1 week. I said 1 week.
Yeah, well,
I was like, yeah, I'm a nerd, but not that much of a nerd.
I always felt that it would have meant more in Vulcan, because I was one of those original Star Trek people.
Yeah.
I loved Leonard Nimoy's Mr. Spock.
Yeah, my mom did as well. I think she would have been more approving of that.
Was she paying for this? She might not have been approving of either.
Well, for the lone fact of it being Star Trek, she would have been, like that would have gotten me to 50%. Then from there on would have been the rest of it.
Okay.
So I should say, when it comes to mothers, that Howl is very much a love letter to my mother. And my mom ended up dying in November, which is, she agreed she would haunt me before she died. So we had an agreement. In Jewish folklore, there's a thing called a dybbuk, where the spirit
Oh yes.
you. And I said, if you've got to go, then please, stick to me. And anyway, but I had already been writing. I'd had the idea for a while of writing this series, which is partially the story of my mother and father when they lived together as beatniks in the science fiction community in 1950s Greenwich Village. And partially it's kind of a science fictionalized version of their story, because there's also a fungal alien who comes in as a therapist and starts converting people to fungalism.
That sounds a little bit just like hippies at the time.
Well,
If we gave it more of a name.
Yeah, I think beatniks were sort of proto hippies. There was a kind of
but I like that term, fungalism.
I just came up with it.
I like that.
Thank you. We should all fungalize. But the beatniks were sort of proto hippies.
Mm-hmm.
And in the research for this, I discovered wonderful things. Like, I had never seen Bucket of Blood. The Roger Corman Bucket of Blood. As a lot of people say, "Hi, Alisa, this is excellent." And someone's called Wendell Bigfoot. Alain Morisset and I, we've collaborated a lot, and we did a bunch of cryptid stories for Ahoy as well. And one has an amorous yeti in it. So
Wendell's the Bigfoot lover.
Yeah, he's the big.
There's a lot to love.
Well,
there
yes,
is indeed.
I enjoyed the artwork. I enjoyed the story in this. I wasn't kind of expecting the ending, but I guess that's the sign of a good writer. So you say you've worked with this artist before, but this was a special project. So how did you connect with that? Because it's personal.
Yeah. So Morisset and I connected about 10 years ago. Originally, we were matched by DC to work on the first version of Mystic U, which was Zatanna and a bunch of the other magical creatures. So that original incarnation didn't happen. But Alain and I really wanted to work together, and we started to talk, and we both are great believers in collaboration. So even though the story was very personal to me, and Alain's ended up drawing a lot of stuff that I don't think he expected to be drawing. Our sensibility and our interests very much overlap. So one of the things, for example, that I love is what in comics is called acting. And that has to do with in linguistics, it's called pragmatics. It's all the ways we communicate that aren't words, how far apart we stand, the micro expressions that cross, just all of those little things. And for an artist to be able to convey those nuances both makes it really dramatically satisfying, I think, to a reader, but also allows you to achieve funny.
Well, and it's a hell of a skill too, because there's a lot of people that can draw comics, but conveying so much expression, it takes a lot of talent.
Yeah, and it takes that being your interest. I had an artist look at one of my scripts and say, nice, someone else. That's there. I want fisticuffs, flying fisticuffs. So the other thing, though, that Alain is really good at is I like to challenge him. And one of the inspirations for me, I'm going to take a step back and say, I love the idea of pod people for what it represents, which is how much you cannot know, even people who are really close to you. So I love horror as a way to delve into stuff that's really psychological and feels, emotionally grounded to me. And on the other hand, I love practical effects. I love it in a way that just makes me the crotchety, get off my lawn CGI kind of person. And Rob Bottin in The Thing from 1982 was this wonder kid who did all these wonderful protean, monsters that transform and morph, and it's really creative body horror. So one of the things that Alan and I talked about was, on the one hand, the emotions of, being in a relationship and worrying about it and, having, all these questions about your career. And on the other hand, really diving deep into body horror and then going into Faulty Towers kind of slapstick. So we, I think he likes the way I, make him work and think about stuff.
You give him a challenge.
How far apart are you? I mean, is it all online, or are you able to go over to a studio, or how does that work?
We have spent time together at conventions in the past. Lately, not as much, but he's in Belgium. So yeah, we are not right close, but we talk. We just talk for ages. And we won't, with all the people, Tom Pyers, my editor at Ahoy, and I like communication. So I will get on the phone and just talk about The Thing and talk about, other ways that the story is working or not working, and stuff that I want to sort of get in there. And Alan and I will just talk all the time, talk about pointy breasts. I did keep challenging him. I said, a 19
pointier.
It's really pointy. I do feel like he didn't fully understand how pointy a pointy breast could be.
He did it well, though.
Have you sweetheart? Have you seen Madonna? Pointier. Oh, and I think something that a lot of people don't realize, because I have a tidbit of experience in the comic book community, but how crucial it is or how important it is to find that person that you're on such that same wavelength with, that you work so compatibly together.
Yeah. And it's a rapport thing. Yes, 1950s pointy, like the Howard Hughes actually developed, I believe, the cantilevered bra of the 1950s, because, it was a moment. Well, everything was pointy in the 50s. The cars were pointy and
just like sugar cone ice cream cones in the shirt pointy.
Yeah, they were. My mother said that wearing those bras always made you feel nervous about having someone see you naked, because it felt like such false advertising for what you were going to see when the bra came off.
Like what those do not look anything like they looked before. Those are much more round. It's not what I signed up for.
Yeah, it reminds one of that. I'm trying to remember which famous artist or who was it who was endlessly freaked out when he actually saw his wife naked and discovered that women, unlike the statues of women, were not hairless. Who was that who was so repulsed by that?
A dumbass. That's who it was.
He had vapors. He was probably one of those romantic poets, I think. Anyway, if someone remembers who that was,
Chris, look it up.
Yeah,
Chris would be the one to know.
Obviously, this was well before the internet, so.
And
I would have been a very bad boy if I'd had the internet growing up. Cheyenne, I saw that look. Yeah, so I was gonna.
What?
I didn't know how to get around to asking about that because it was very well drawn, and I was like, okay, this isn't your normal comic, which I loved, but conveying
You
that
just liked the boobs.
Oh yeah, of course. Who doesn't like boobs?
Well, there were these funny moments because there are two love scenes. So the basic setup of the plot is that Burt Jeckley, who's very much modeled after my father, Robert Sheckley, was a science fiction writer of the 1950s. I'm just going to digress and say my father did write for some TV and movies. And one of his stories became a novel, became the movie The 10th Victim, which has that very classic scene with Ursula Andress in a, metal brassiere that turns out to be a gun. And I think that is the original bra gun that was so spoofed in the Mike Myers Austin Powers movies. So it all comes back to breasts. But anyway, so in this comic, Bert and Ziva are young and living together in Greenwich Village and part of the science fiction community. The group is called Scylla there. In real life, the group was called Hydra. But because of the Marvel situation, I didn't want to call it Hydra.
They weren't Nazis, were they?
They were not. So they fall under the influence of a therapist who's modeled after the real life celebrity therapist Mildred Newman, who saw my parents and just about every creative person and actor and director, from the late 50s through the 70s and 80s even. And in this, she's a fungal queen. So there's definitely a nod to a lot of B movies and the novels that inspired them. But it's also about that time and how, for a lot of science fiction writers, they could imagine aliens as being, sort of sentient and relatable, but they had trouble imagining human women that way.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, they didn't seem to understand the nuances. So and you got real technical with some of the words there when, for lack of better words, it was tickling her.
They had a problem figuring that part out.
The Spores didn't know what to do. And then
were the Spores men?
Well, there's I don't want to give away too much, but they do. One of the things that I wanted to happen in the relationship was some element of that Return of Martin Gare element, where you think that perhaps the man, who is your, they're not married in this, but who's your lover, your partner, your husband, whatever, isn't, he's been replaced in some way. But as in the Return of Martin Gare, which is based on a true story, you get the feeling that perhaps he's a little more likable this way. So there's a little bit of a romance. And, John Carpenter, who did The Thing about this shape-shifting alien, I think around the same time also did Starman, which was a greater success at the time, has young Jeff Bridges as a very hunky alien who's romancing Karen Allen in the body of, in the shape and form of her deceased husband.
I think I remember that. And then you also did some what's better, like you said with the cigarette smoke. Oh, a doctor wouldn't allow us to do this if it wasn't bad for you. Did little quips like that as a paramedic, I caught that one right off. I'm like, oh, that's good. So
my mom was told that if she felt constipated during her pregnancy with me, she should have a cigarette. So that was very based in reality.
Yeah, yeah, it was a different era. It was a totally different era.
We
Say I
should
can't say that I've ever smoked and been like, you know what, need to hit the bathroom.
And then the trick at the end with the cigarette, that was awesome.
thank you. It
That was awesome. I knew a girl in high school, but that's
that
another.
was really borrowed from an old Gene Kelly movie.
Was it okay? Because I knew a girl in high school that did that. We were like, what? How?
I do not have such talents.
Well,
I burned my mouth on lasagna. So.
You say you're not a smoker. So.
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
Well, I was too. Things, yeah, it is funny though how things change, and you referenced a couple of them, but that was the one that really, like I said, as a paramedic, I caught that one right off, and I was like, oh, it's okay. So, because there was even advertisements with like doctors recommending like Camel. I found once doing some research. I'm like, really?
But I think, when I was younger, I thought, oh God, people were, so how could they have done such things? But now I think, I just look back to what they had Winston cigarette commercials on the Flintstones. Yes. But, we've been just as stupid. I grew up, microwaving microplastics into all my food. Delicious. Delicious plastic.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I grew up on kid cuisine. I have turned out just fine.
That's what's turning us into the spores, all those little tiny pieces of plastic. We're going to transform when they flip the switch. So when Elon flips the switch or something.
I think it might be better that way.
Might be. Some days I look around and
go to be with my people.
Take me.
Well,
one day we'll get the right UFO guest and they'll be able to hook us up.
Well, UFOs have really gone through such a change. I mean, I remember that it was not long ago that, you were utterly insane if you talked about UFOs. And now, even if you don't live in, where is it? It's not Middletown, New York. That's the capital of Pine Bush. Even if you don't live in Pine Bush, you can talk about UFOs.
It seems like any more you sound more crazy if you don't. Or it's like somebody says they don't believe in UFOs. I don't trust that person.
Shay has
Chris, you're right.
Massacres in her past. I love it.
Yeah.
Warren, you're going to make Wendell jealous. Stop. So.
Thank you, Warren. It's noted. I'll take Warren's over Wendell's.
Yeah. And the condom broke. That was a funny bit too. So anybody that hasn't read this needs to go read this. It's not too risque, but it's pretty close.
Where can people find it if they want to get it?
It's still available as single issues, but on October 15th, it is going to come out as a collected trade paperback. And I believe that Barnes & Noble, I think there's going to be a pre-order special coming up. So I think it's going to be in July. Is it now? It's either now or in August. I need to double check, but check out if you want to pre-order it on Barnes & Noble. I think you get a lovely little discount now. And of course, you'll boost my numbers. What else can I tell you about it? I mean, I think so there's all these other elements in it too. I think that I love the soap opera element of things as well. And so, there's the character that's the therapist who's taken over by the fungal aliens. We get to hear some of her backstory. And you get to see all of these artists transformed, artists and writers and jazz musicians. So it's, I hope there would be lots of different elements mixing in the brew. But, my first great love were the horror comics, of creepy and eerie, and House of Mystery and House of Secrets. So this is, I guess, more for adults, but it's got a lot of that, the fun of the macabre, I guess.
And you left the door open for future editions with, I won't say it, but smaller aliens. So.
Yes, yes. Well, I dream about doing the next installment, because I think that it would be so fun to go into the 60s and maybe the early 70s in New York City with some alien influence. And I would also love to, cross over into the world of Guilt, which was the trade paperback and series I did previously. That one is based on a special building in New York City where certain apartments have the perk of allowing the owner to time travel. And it's based on a building built by Theosophists, the Level Club, which was built supposedly according to the footprint and has elements of King Solomon's Temple on the Upper West Side. One of the lesser known supernatural buildings of the Upper West Side.
I didn't even know that. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, I could see where you could do that. You could take it all the way up to today. I think that would be kind of cool. God knows we have enough characters in the real life here to add some to it. So.
Well, and seeing them like learn and adapt over time as well.
Well, I mean, I'm fascinated in the ways that New York City stays the same and the ways that it has changed. I mean, there was a period of time where every bank turned into a drugstore, and now the day of the drugstores is gone. And I don't quite know what's coming next. There seems to be...
The drugstores have then turned into the vape stores.
The vape stores, it's true. But for a long time, there were love drugstores all over New York City. And now they are gone. Like the woolly mammoth.
I used to work up north.
You can either get a vape shop or a Spirit Halloween.
Good Lord, Warren. Well, I used to work up north, and one of the things in New York was Photomat. I was a district manager for Photomat in my other life, and so I would go Baltimore, Philly, and New York, and DC, and so yeah. Now those little booths are gone, and the 1 hour. I don't even know if there's a 1 hour photo left, so they're all gone.
There is one phone booth left on the Upper West Side.
Is it functional?
Yes. I think it's, I think it's they put it in. I guess they realized that not everyone has a cell phone, and
if there's only one, then that one is like 10,000% a TARDIS.
But who carries quarters?
Yeah,
people that have to go to the laundromat. If it's New York City, then
yeah, okay.
Not every apartment building has. I have got a change purse full of quarters, thank you, sir.
I mean, there's some in my dash, but I don't carry them. So it was funny the first time I went back through. My son moved to Vermont. I went back through, and I was like, "Oh crap! I forgot money for tolls." This post-COVID, and I didn't realize that now they just snap your license plate and email or send you a letter. I was freaking out before I got to that first toll booth, going, "I don't have any quarters. I don't have any quarters."
I remember being scared about slowing down, just like you have to remember to slow down in time and hit that. I don't know why. I was not a natural driver because I grew up in the city. So all car stuff seemed highly unnatural to me.
Yeah, not everybody in the city owns cars. You don't really need one. I mean, honestly. So
taxi, subway.
Yeah, or Uber, Lyft now. So, but the toll booths were scary because you had to, like you said, slow down, and they would yell at you if you took off before the light turned to red. Even if your quarter went into the little hole, they would just, "No, don't go yet. I'm sorry." So yeah, there were some scary people. I agree.
And my aim is genuinely bad, so I was also that person who had to get out throw the quarter
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, they would really yell at you then. So the people behind you, New York City. One of my favorite stories, the first time I went to a photo mat in DC or in New York, and I'm looking, this is back, I'm using a map. And I'm looking, so I see this friendly police officer directing traffic, and I thought, well, I'll stop and ask him. And I'm like, hey, I'm trying to get here. And he goes, what are you, a effing idiot? It's up there. You got to go over the bypass. I'm like, what? He's like, get out of here. I'm like, okay. So yeah, it's a whole different world up there. I was like, please don't make me drive up here often. And that was the 80s. Good Lord. So and they would drown right now. I don't know what she's talking about. Oh, never mind.
I'm just catching up on some of the comments, and it's
they're having their own little conversation over there.
Yeah.
So what else have you got going on and in the works? Because you sound like you're a very busy person.
Oh, well, I mean, first of all, I've been collecting wonderful stories for Hal's trade paperback. I've got, all kinds of cool background information. My dad, some of my dad's letters to my mom, some of my dad's letters include, pitching stuff to Hollywood back in the, I think it's early 60s, and hanging around with Harlan Ellison and trying to decide, because Harlan wanted to write to music and my father liked silence. And I think they compromised on Mancini soundtracks. So there's that. I'm also working on a novelization or a novel version of Hal, and also probably on a book about Jewish supernatural tales. Dybbuk, and a lot of people don't know this, but The Corpse Bride is based on an actual medieval Jewish legend. And
really,
after the movie came out, I remember thinking, I bet that this was a folktale of some kind. And I started to dig around, and I found, which I haven't been able to find since, the manuscript in Hebrew. And I started to read it, and it's very medieval. It ends with a big court case where the corpse bride comes in and says, "No, I'm married to him," and they said, "But you're dead." And so it's not as action filled. Anyway, so I'm working on that a bit, and that will probably end up being a graphic novel with Morrissey. And then we've got some other things going. Probably
that'll be really interesting.
Yeah. What else? I've got a strange. I think I'm not. This is still. I'm not saying it's a cross between the Breakfast Club reunion and the Legion of Superheroes, but it kind of is. And so those are the main things that I'm
okay
right now.
Sounds interesting. Well, what other Jewish supernatural things are there? That I've never really dug into this.
Oh my gosh, there are a lot. There's I mean, besides the classic ones, there's a lot of people turning into donkeys. I have so far only been delving into the classic Ashkenazic stories. My next step is going to be go into the Sephardic and Mizrahi stories. So that would be, from the Spanish expulsion kind of stories, and then stories from the Middle East, Morocco and Tunisia and Iraq and Iran and all of that.
There's a lot there.
Yeah, so I thought there'll be, I think it's going to be framed around a girl with a very strange bat mitzvah teacher. So I feel very strange to saying all of this, but I think I want to write the kind of things that I would either want to read now or I would have wanted to read as a kid. And the spooky stuff, especially if it had humor in it, was just what spoke to my heart.
What's your favorite spooky movie?
Oh gosh, my favorite spooky movie. I I don't know. I mean, I do love the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I love everything with Vincent Price in it. Um, gosh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I will have to, I also love The Thing. So all of those that I've mentioned are probably up there. What are yours?
I would probably go like you were talking, like The Thing. That would be one of them, the original. Of course, then I get weird and I like all the Mothman or Mothra, Godzilla. Then I get in a whole different genre. But
Yeah, and Troll from the original Troll from 1980 or so with Sonny Bono and a very young Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and then there's this apartment building where everyone turns supernatural, and it's got that sort of soundtrack, all the little horror puppets.
Yeah, I don't know, but the ones that freak me out are like Chucky, the doll. No, just no for me.
For me, it's 1,000% The Shining.
Yeah. And I understand why Stephen King didn't love the Kubrick movie, because the character of Jack doesn't really have an arc, but I don't care. I still love it.
Well, it's funny because I was actually just recently explaining it to my brother of, I mean, I love that version, but when you like read the book, or especially I feel like when you listen to the audiobook, like the Jack Torrance that you get in the movie versus the Jack Torrance that you get whenever you start reading that book are two completely different people. Like the most that I'll spoil is like at the beginning, whenever he gets to the hotel and they're like interviewing and they're talking and everything. It's a really pleasant in the movie. It's a very pleasant conversation, and it seems like everything's going well. But when you read the book and you start out in the book, it's like the two of them hate each other.
Yeah.
Like Jack Torrance is talking like some mad shit to himself about the manager of the hotel, and like I remember whenever I started reading it, I was like, what the hell?
So I have to tell you that I had read the book and of course seen the movie and like other versions. It so upset me that the wife gets no supernatural help, so her husband's supercharged with supernatural power. So I actually wrote a book that was meant to redress that. And it was The Better to Hold You. And the book was about a woman who moves out of the city, and she doesn't realize that her cheating husband has an STD, which is lycanthropy, STI, I guess we would say now. And and so she's infected too. And so it's unfortunately the book ran afoul of like, it got published as if it were a paranormal romance, and it was really sort of The Shining done as two werewolves having their marriage issues out.
Interesting.
I like that.
But yeah, I do agree with that. Like I think seeing Wendy's point of view on paranormal things happening would have been interesting. I mean, I guess she kind of in the movie got like that little tiny tidbit, but if you count like a 10-second scene of seeing two people in costumes screwing around, if you count that as being as her paranormal experience, then yeah, that's all she got.
But also, I mean, if the movie is exquisite foie gras, then poor Shelley was the goose.
Yeah, very much agree with that. And for how much damage that all did to her too.
Yeah, it's I can't watch that sort of unmixed. I do have to say that if you guys have never seen, have you seen Bucket of Blood?
Mm-mm.
I have not known.
You're so lucky. It's all there waiting for you. Beatniks, Bad Art. It's the whole like Little Shop of Horrors gang. I think it's the year before Little Shop of Horrors, the
Oh.
original, obviously not the 80s musical.
Oh, okay. See, I'm the like number 4 on my favorite list of movies, or no, it would be number 2 is full on musical Little Shop of Horrors.
Absolutely, but you have to see the original, and you really, really need to see Bucket of Blood. I just, life is too short not to watch Bucket of Blood.
It's gonna be hard to convince me if there's no singing plants.
It's there's spoken word poems by Beatniks.
That might win me over.
That set me down a different genre. Jim Morrison did a book of poetry to lyric or to a beat with the Doors. So that's what that kind of set me down, and that's about the right era for that. So, sorry. All creatures great and new or something. I don't know. It's like a rated X CD or well, whatever they call them now, MP3s. So I'm showing my age. It was a cassette when I was young. So,
and I have a couple of.
I think MP would have been a couple of years ago. There's probably something new now.
Yeah, true.
Shouting in people's ears. And I have 2 beat poems in Howl, so you can for your open mic night.
I caught that. So, well, we always ask everybody paranormal stories. You said you had some really cool ones, so I want to give you a lot of time for that too. I mean, we don't want to keep you too long, but we want to hear all your good stories.
Well, so I don't know how much detail to go into. I had started to mention that I stayed in this. It's called the Old Judge Mansion in Troy, New York, and it's in downtown Troy. And you're all of these houses. It's maybe not the most exquisite section of town. I may be wrong. Forgive me, Troy, if I am wrong. And then suddenly you see this looming Gothic Victorian house, and it feels, I'm not going to say it has Haunting of Hill House level vibes of wrongness, but it does feel like it's got stuff going on inside. And I thought I was tone deaf to the supernatural. I've lived in very old houses with rickety stairs and dirt basements and big, those big fireplaces they used to have underneath. And I would go down there, no problem, cobwebs in my hair, unafraid. Walked into the Old Judge Mansion and felt heebie-jeebie. Felt like I didn't want to sleep in that room. Felt like the beige terry cloth bathrobe that was hanging on a door was a bathrobe that would do sinister things to my personality or anyone's personality who put it on. So I think I was also getting a cold, but I there was also a little game room that seemed frozen in the 1980s, all the old videos. There was a kind of exquisite creepiness to this place. And in the morning, I came down and asked the lovely landlady, don't mean to be insulting, but has anything paranormal ever happened here? She said, anything? Well, and it turns out that this place had been...
What hasn't happened here?
What hasn't happened there? So it was a funeral home, and the room I'd been staying in was one of the rooms that had not really been renovated. It was the room where all the coffins had been kept. And so there was that. And, she had been there alone during COVID. And I guess there had been a lot, of doors slamming and lights. And, so I have nothing more concrete. But then she told me
the ghosts were hiding all her toilet paper and all her hand sanitizer just kept going missing. And
she did have paranormal, some of those people who do the investigations, set up in the house and all of that. But she said that the ghosts there were all benign. And I believed her. She went on, though, to tell me a story that did not take place in that funeral home, but a different story about a funeral home director. So her father had been with the Merchant Marine, and this is sort of a story of a story, but when he joined the Merchant Marine, there was a guy there who had been a funeral director, a mortician, and he quit because and so I think this would have been in the 1920s or 30s. We were trying to figure out the time period. So the former funeral director told the woman's father, who owns the old Judge mansion, that that he had gotten 2 babies. Is this too dark? Should I not say this?
No, you're good. You're good.
He had gotten 2. I'm sorry. Now I feel kind of things, but anyway, so the story was that he had gotten 2 babies who had sadly died. They were twins, and he started to do the preparation, the embalming, and then stopped after doing one for lunch. And when he came back, the other baby was not on the table. It had crawled away, and so it had not been dead. And so the not knowing had just made him quit his profession, and he had.
So was it legitimate? The other baby wasn't dead.
He never knew.
Wow.
Huh.
So that was, and that did not happen in that house, but that was all part of that old, it was part of the whole experience for me. And I'm still rather haunted by that very sad story from the 1930s or 20s. I'm not sure of the time period.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it kind of aligns with when a lot of people would get so badly sick, they'd think that they were dead, but they weren't. And then, they had to start hanging bells so that.
Yeah. The waiting mortuaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, it's funny because since then I've been through hospice and, have, experienced death. Like, it was spooky there. And I ended up feeling I've gotten more comfortable with all of it. And I hope, as I say, I hope I won't always be this tone deaf. I'm certainly, I am open to,
Maybe it's just that certain ones speak to you more than others.
Yeah, I like that.
You've got to be on. I think it's possible that different spirits operate on different frequencies, and it might have just been you're tuned in for whatever reason to a specific frequency, and whatever's going on in that place happened to be on that same frequency.
Yeah, and I also think maybe it was that I was coming down with a cold, and perhaps I must always be slightly lightheaded and schnitzy in order to sense the supernatural.
I can see that. It would make your
senses possible
be more heightened, I guess. So I can see that. And, talking about as a paramedic, that was always one of my fears because we had to pronounce people all the time.
Yeah.
And that was always one of my fears, especially as a young paramedic. I was like, but luckily we've advanced now. We've got tools and machines and stuff. So we don't just go, yeah, they're gone. So yeah, we've got machines that can tell everything in the field pretty much down to brainwaves. So yeah, it's, I have not ran a call though, where somebody has come back from the dead. That would be creepy. So it's happened to paramedics I know.
Yeah, has it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like how long were they technically dead?
Well, they had already ran the strip, which is EKG. We look at 4 different views of the heart, and if it's flat, there's no electrical activity. And after 2 minutes, it's really almost impossible to get it to come back period. Even with drugs and electricity. But he had time to go and tell the family, I'm sorry, Bobby Sue's gone, and there's nothing we could do. We've done all this, and here's this. Hey,
And here in the background, he just comes sitting up like,
hey, are you talking
what's
about
going on, guys?
He's,
Who the hell you calling dead?
I got the EKG. So yeah.
Well, I
Wow.
like the idea. In Jewish tradition, I've heard it said that the spirit doesn't go for the first year after death. They stay close to the people that they love, that love them, and they stick around. But I have poor boundaries.
I like that.
Like I did say to my mom, it's supposed to be a year. Could you what's a year to you? Could you just stick around with me for the duration? Just come on in. So
Well, and a year in their time could be completely different in ours as well. So
absolutely. So yeah, I don't know what there is, but I hope that that we stick around enough to
I do like that. You hang around for a year, I guess, to make sure everybody's good without you, and then go do whatever.
We've
Go
had
do your thing.
people on that say that they wouldn't leave because they were in a car wreck and their kid was still young, or they wanted to see their grandbabies and stuff like that. I can see that. So, but we're not going to know until then. We won't be able to tell anybody. So.
Well, and it could be different for each person too. Who's to say that we all get to hang around and do whatever, or we all go to heaven or hell or evaporate into nothing, or who knows?
Picked up by aliens. So.
I'm gonna go with that option. They can just take me.
Well, there's something very magical. I think everyone's very fascinated by fungi right now. And I think one of the things that I love about them is they're not animals. They're not plants. They're this sort of strange in-between liminal thing that can break down just about anything and transform it. And so maybe mushrooms do have the answer.
And they can kind of come out of nowhere too. So
yes,
there was a story that
I believe that Chris. Chris is just gonna haunt the YouTube channel.
There was a story that just came out about a fungi that moved, but it didn't have a heartbeat. It didn't have electricity, and it wasn't alive. And it would eat anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this was actually discovered here recently in New York City, of all places. So that's what I always say. If they find it, I mean, they found a few years ago, they found a rare newt in the big park. I'm drawing a blank. But anyhow, they're finding all these things in New York City. How the hell do we know Bigfoot isn't out in West Virginia?
Yeah,
I mean, there's plenty of caves up in the Appalachians. He could be. I mean, he could be hanging out back by the trash cans. I don't know. That ain't my business.
I was also really excited to discover that so many of us have major Neanderthal DNA, and that's maybe we are much more Bigfoot than we know.
Could be, especially Wendell. So make sure he's awake in the chat.
I mean, I don't really. I think you'd have a hard time convincing me otherwise that he wasn't. But he's too obsessed. I think so my theory is that he is one trying to play human, and he is just trying a little too hard.
With passing as human. So when I was a kid, my uncle was part owner of a nudist camp in Davie, Florida. And I remember that one night I was in a trailer there with another friend, and we were watching the 10 Commandments, and there was a news interruption, and it said that I guess
You're watching the 10 Commandments at the nudist camp.
Yes, I was.
I love it.
So
I love it.
So the newscast comes on, and as I recall, it said something like, Bigfoot type creature spotted in Davie, Florida, reported 11, and there's some grainy picture. And then suddenly there's like footsteps and like a heavy sound at the door, and we both scream. And it was my uncle. It was not Bigfoot at all. So I'm sorry, that all sounds far more sinister now, but it was all I had a perfectly nice nudist camp experience.
There's always that one crazy uncle. So
he had originally,
we've all got one.
He'd performed the first nude wedding, I believe, certainly in Florida, but maybe in the United States in the 1950s. And from that experience, he became a nudist.
All right.
So,
I mean, hey, if you're passionate about something, go for it.
If you were a Bigfoot, wouldn't you actually go to a nudist camp? I mean, it's probably the best place to blend in. Remember, before sin entered the picture, nudity was the norm.
Yeah. Very true.
Europeans are far more open to it than we are. So,
Bigfoot?
No, nudity. It may be about Bigfoot. Hell, I don't know.
Nobody's even allowed to have chest hair anymore. I mean, just bring back,
Ew.
the hairy guy.
Who wants a bald-chested man? Ew.
Yeah, back hair, arm hair, just the full kind of
more hair, the better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't do waxing.
We like them hairy.
I'm going to leave that alone. I'll get in trouble. You'll be telling the editor, I'm never going back on that show again.
But I wish I could find if I had my cryptid story right here. I was so pleased with my Bigfoot story. I have these, Alana and I did these 3 Golden Girls type characters, and each one got, there was the Chihuahua story, that's the Chupahuahua out in New Mexico. And then there was the Alaska cruise, which was one of them is very sad because her ex-husband, she's sort of the B. Arthur character. Her ex-husband is getting remarried while she's off on this cruise with her friends, and she's swept off her feet by a Bigfoot. But, humans interfere with their happy romance.
Aw, stupid humans. Well, we've given you so many
Just
ideas.
wanted a hairy hunk of man. That's all she wanted.
I want to see a Bigfoot story set in a nudist camp in the 50s. So
that would be the 70s. But yeah, there's these Ruby Dixon alien romance, very spicy romance. So maybe I have to do my Yeti nudist camp 70s story.
I got a horror story about.
You know where to find us.
I had done the research on this author. I had done a lot of stuff. She had done her research on Bigfoot. She knew all about Bigfoot, and I was all excited to have her on the show. And she comes on, and she comes out with this. Cheyenne knows where I'm going with this.
It took me a minute.
What was it she said? His green eyes looked up between my thighs or something.
From between my thighs, yes.
I'm like, wait, what? Turned out she has 2 types of books.
She thought she was here talking about her cryptid smut. Which
oh my God,
I'm
yes.
still.
Who is this writer? Was it Ruby Dixon?
It was Honey.
It was not. It was Honey Cummings.
Honey Cummings. Yes, and she's great. She's one of my best friends on Facebook.
I'm still waiting for my copy of the books.
I may have to look that up.
Yes.
About ready for some Very
she was a
Yeti.
she was a great guest, but thank God Cheyenne was here because I was like dumbstruck. Because here I'm, I'm
Yeah,
prepared
well,
for
he
this.
doesn't know what's going on, and as she starts explaining, I was like, "Yes, yes, I am on board." Uh-huh.
I'm like, wait, what? So, it was a great
And
episode.
her explaining because like she's got kind of like her smut persona and then her normal persona, and then somebody when she's there promoting like her smut persona will recognize her and be like, "Hey, you're," and she's like, "No, no, no. We don't talk about it."
Yeah,
Life
yeah,
would
it
be
was,
so much easier if I had split myself between, but yeah, no, I years ago I had a librarian said I would get your novels, except I don't believe in novels with gratuitous sex. And I said, oh, there's no gratuitous sex in my books. Every scene is absolutely earned. She said, well, in that case.
That's how we like it.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, we don't want to keep you all night. We've probably already kept you longer than we should, but before you get out of here, I want to make sure you tell everybody where they can find you, and where they can
Where they can
obviously
get
get your
books.
stuff.
Yeah, so I'm K Witty at Instagram. I'm Alisa Kwitney. I've got my website, www.alisakwitney.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm still on X, God help me, and Blue Sky. And as for Howl, you can pre-order through Barnes and Noble or Amazon or bookstores. It'd be Howl by Alisa Kwitney, obviously not Ginsberg, which is another wonderful experience. So that's most of what I have to say. And also check out the old Judge Mansion in Troy, New York. Hope I did not turn anyone away from staying there.
Which is about 12 minutes from Albany.
You're going to stay there now when you go back home, aren't you?
Don't put on the bathrobe.
When you said that,
you say that, but it's my intrusive thoughts are like, no, put it on more now.
you put it on your boyfriend. Here, wear this. So
there you go. No, but then he'd get to experience it, and I wouldn't have a story to tell from it.
You might.
Well, one of our listeners, viewers is already wanting you to come back. So,
yeah. So they're saying with the Breakfast Club. So they never did the Breakfast Club reunion, and they were at one point going to meet back with them in their 40s, 30s, 40s, or 50s. And I love the idea of writing something that sort of mixed that with the weird Legion of Superhero and all their strange, powers. I mean, with the serial numbers filed off. And there would be a wedding. Yeah. So that's my idea. And I will absolutely, hopefully get to write that. And and I would love to.
I'll love to hear about your book on the different Jewish folklore as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, I will be writing away, and I would love to come back. And that was really nice talking with all of you.
Yeah, we've had a great time.
It's nice talking to you as well.
Yeah, let's see. I don't know where I got a comment somewhere, but it popped up here talking about spooky Spores. It was the Thin Line Rock Station. I saw it, but it's gone. I don't know where it was. But definitely come back, because I want to follow up with you and find out all these good stories.
Only if you watch Bucket of Blood.
I can do that.
I'll make sure of it.
Yeah, she'll
Dybbuk boxes scared the shit out of me, so I need to know more.
Absolutely. Well, I'll do my research and I'll come back.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll see you soon. I don't know how long it takes you to write this, but hopefully see you soon.
Hop to.
All right. Good night, guys, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We appreciate it. Have a great evening.
To you too.
All right. Bye. That was great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I, I'm always fascinated by the older stuff. You know, the classics.
I
I'm
like
not.
how much of the older stuff she like
Mhm.
crammed in there.
Yeah, and she's so young, so I don't know how she got it all in there, but yeah. So, I mean, she got the in it. Well, when you read it, she's got there's the cars, there's the people, there's the pointiness, and the artist. He was spot on with it. So, everybody, please make sure to go buy it because I think you'll really enjoy it. Um,
Well, and she said if you wait until October, I believe she said, order it through Barnes and Noble, you can get the trade paperback of all 5 for a discount. So,
yeah, yeah, or maybe you can go to her site and get her to autograph it and send it to you. So, yeah, that'd be cool.
there you go.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of that stuff. So,
Well, now it's convincing me that I might have to tag along to Logan's trip to Syracuse since they're driving. So then we'd have to go through Albany, which would go right through Troy. I need you guys to make a stop for me.
it'll be a nice little layover. So give Logan the robe.
I've got to at least put it on first and walk around for a little bit and just like absorb the juju from it first.
She made it sound too spooky.
Then he can have it. It's the funniest thing because like stuff like that, like when it comes to movies and stuff, I'm the biggest wimp. Stuff scares me so easily. But like you throw me into a physical situation like that, like when we went um up to Weston to the asylum, you put me in the situation and I'm going to be at the front of the group like, give me the ghosts.
Chris is totally off topic, but I just had to say Alicia looks like a girl I graduated high school. Oh, wait a minute, I can't read it. My logo's in the way. And she sounds
He graduated with high school with exactly like his daughter's ex-choir teacher. Weird mashup, but great guest. I agree. And she very well spoken. I love the way that she kind of story told things, especially like before we came on when she was explaining to us her paranormal stories.
Yeah.
Like if she like she has one of those voices that would be perfect to read an audiobook.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. You're right. I hadn't thought of that.
That's like a big thing for me because audio, like a big deal breaker for me in reading an audiobook is if the voice of the person is annoying, then I can't read it. I'll just suffer through it. But she's got one of those voices that just the way she says some things, I think she would make a really good. Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I want to make sure because we are broadcasting live on, Lord have mercy, Right Talk Radio, Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, Forward Radio. I'm not sure. Yerg's has got a bunch of new channels. Even we're on the Sports Talk right now, so we're kind of doing a little test. So we're on all of the Yerg's radio channels tonight, and we want to thank Yerg's over at yergsradio.com. Make sure to go over there and find all your
Thank you, Ross.
Political needs. He's also allowed us. We're going to be back here in just like a few minutes with another show. It's totally off topic. It's a different one, but we figured why not? We'll just
didn't have enough of us right now. Will you get more?
Right. So everybody hang around for a few minutes. Everybody on Yerg's Radio, I will just put you on pause and then we'll be right back with you guys. But everybody else, stay tuned. It's a really cool show and we got some great clips and you'll probably get unfiltered Cheyenne. So that'll be the best part of it. So All right, everybody. We will be back in just a few. So we will talk to you soon.
After these messages.
That's right. Say it in your radio voice.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these messages.
Hey, can you do like a safety belt for the airline too?
I'd have to find a script first, but definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I'm putting you on that one. Everybody, we'll be right back.